Hey guys, Ryan here from Team KI DTs, bringing you another deck discussion for a future deck that's coming up. It's going to be Cybernetics, also Mega Man, also Mighty Number 9, or whatever game you want to think of. I call it Mega Man X. But of course, I have the Hero World guy with me, who also just injects Hero World into his veins and is also a stripper for Hero World. You can pay him with anything Hero World related, and he'll do anything for you. Take it away.
So my prices are Holofoil Cybernetic cards number one, but everything just goes on with a, hey guys, it's Dylan. You old dude.
Hero World Citizen.
Yeah. Okay.
We're going to get into this deck discussion, talking about Mega Man, Mighty Number 9, Cybernetics.
Wow, made the same joke twice. Nice.
Yeah, just got to put that point through. It's a great deck. I love the art, but take it away.
Okay, so first we have Cybernetic Warrior Netman. He is like the main dude. He's going to be my buddy just because he's like the original. Obviously, running him at 4, I like his ability to gain a soul from your drop zone and then also gain a gauge, but also to pay a gauge and deal 3 damage. So this card alone deals 5 damage by himself, and I just like it a lot. Plus that 6,000 power, I feel like is a nice like power. It's not too big, but it's not too small. It's just right.
Oh, just like for Dylan's pricing.
Yeah. Hoping you're going to pick up on the joke. So now we're going to go to the next Netman, and it's Red Reboot. I also want him at 4 because I like the ability to pay a gauge and a soul for penetrate and double attack. He has 7,000 power now, so I just feel like that's an amazing ability to pay 1 gauge and get penetrate and double attack as long as it has 1 soul that you can get rid of, which in this deck, it shouldn't be that hard when there's multiple cards that can help you get the soul. Next is Netman Yellow. I'm only running Netman Yellow at 2. It does have a nice ability though. First, when it gets a soul, it also gains crit, which is nice because he's a 3 critter, but I just don't like his power and defense. It's a little odd. Mainly the power, I don't like how it's too small. But the ability is also a nice ability to pay a gauge and to lose a soul. Your opponent returns a monster, and then they have to discard a card from their hand. So if they have 1 card in hand, and you make them discard, they now have no monster, or you know what the other card was and you know what they have in their hand if they keep the monster. Next, for size 2 is Assemble. Assemble I'm running at 4 of because I just love the ability to change the attack. So pay a gauge, gain a soul, and Soul Guard changes the attack. I feel like this is an amazing card because it's only 1 gauge. Plus, there's other spells that return him to hand so you can keep on using them. There's one spell specifically that I like that returns him to hand, and you can call him again so you can get that an additional soul to keep him on the field longer. Next is Archive. He's going to be our first size 1 we talk about. He's a 4 because of his ability to put 1 Cybernetic from a drop zone into the soul of a monster item on your field. He's going to help you gain the soul so you can do the other's abilities. Because all their Netman abilities are either gain the soul or either lose the soul to activate an ability. So and it's once per turn. So he's going to let you be able to gain a soul and lose the soul to activate the ability.
This deck seems pretty cool so far. I like how all the different forms are like different forms of Mega Man.
Yeah. Next is Protocol, which I'm running at 4 of, because there's another Cybernetic on the field, which you're going to be transformed in a Cybernetic, and there might be a size 2 Cybernetic on the field, a size 1, whatever. You get a draw card, so it's kind of like Racer Frill, but also you can lose a soul from a Cybernetic you're transformed into, and you get a gain 2 gauge. She's my main gauge gain in this deck, and I feel like it's an amazing ability just to lose a soul and gain 2 gauge because there's going to be a lot of ways to get soul, like Archive, and like later on you'll see what else will gain you soul.
I would like to make a comment. You know how much of a Hero World nerd this is, because when you brought up the draw, you brought up Racer Phil and not Flare Fang or Drog Archer that were way before Racer
Well,
Phil.
Flare Fang gains you a gauge.
And draw, but it's still that other...
But Archer.
Drago Archer. I like how he goes straight to Hero World and not the OG Drago Archer.
Wow, shut up. So next is Hackman. Hackman, I'm running at 2 of. Pay a gauge in this card enters the field. There's another cybernetic. Return a monster in your opponent's field in front of this card to the hand. What I love is the fact that it has move. So if your opponent has an annoying monster in the center, you can call him to the center, return the center monster, begin attack phase, and move him to the side. That's what I love. So you can choose where you call him, not having to worry if you can attack with your item or not.
Hackman sounds like Pac-Man.
Wow. Next is Antivirus, which I run at 2, and just like Hackman, it has the ability of, if you have another cybernetic on the field, the monster in front of this card gets 3,000 power, 3,000 defense, and -1 critical. And you can use it on defensively when you move it to the center, you move it to the left, move it to the right, whatever has power, defense, and any card you have to deal with. But also that -1 crit is also a nice ability, because let's say you're dealing with bots or something, you can make bots have 1 crit, so it's less scary per se.
Less scary per se,
Some people find bots scary. Okay, next is the only cybernetic, or a card that's not cybernetic. It's Ancient Weapon Pilot Dash. I like it because you just pay 1 life, and your item, it gets Soul Guard and Penetrate, and you get to throw it in the soul.
Can I also say that it's also a counteract, so it's also great?
Yeah, it's also counter speed, and I like it just because it helps you fuel Netman, Netman, Netman Yellow.
See, we talk about, we get the names mixed up.
Yeah, but it lets you have more souls, so you can activate the abilities more often. Now for the spells, obviously 4 I've seen 3 moves.
Super generic, not that special.
It's 4 of in almost every hero will deck. Next is Backspace. Backspace is also a 4 for me. It's the cybernetic nullifier, which I love. Nullify attack. Next time a cybernetic monster on your field is destroyed, put a cybernetic monster from your drop zone into your hand. So not only do you nullify the attack, but you also get a card from your drop zone into your hand, so you can use it to get like Archive, a Protocol if you need more soul, need more gauge, whatever you need. Next is Control XV.
It's Control 15.
Well, I'm saying XV because I'm reading it, so shush. Say what I want to say. I like this card. You return a cybernetic, it's counter speed, and you get to call another cybernetic by its call cost and change the attack. So what I love is the redirector. You pay a gauge, call the redirector. He takes a hit. He goes to take another hit, return him to hand, call him again, has another soul. So it's just really defensive, but you could also use it for other cards that have on-entry abilities, like the draw card for Protocol or something like that.
Protocol? What's Protocol?
Protocol is the draw card when another cybernetic enters the field, and discard a soul from the transformer cybernetic integration.
Okay.
Next is Log Out. Very generic. Return a cybernetic from your field to your hand. But I think it's still a pretty cool card. I personally don't want it just because I wanted room for other spells, but it's just a nice card for on-entry abilities that aren't once per turn, or if you want to keep a cybernetic that your opponent's attacking or anything like that.
Can I just make one comment? Why the hell do you not run this card? It's a cybernetic. You can also return your item if they're going to destroy your item. If they have monsters, you can return those to hand. I am sorry, but why aren't you running this beautiful card?
Because right now I have it on my sideboard, but I don't want it because if they're trying to destroy my monsters with attacks.
What about your item? I'm sorry.
My item has Soul Guard.
Okay, there's stuff. Okay, I'm sorry. We're gonna have a talk later.
Well, next is F5. I don't want F5 because you need 2 or more cybernetics. Pay a gauge, you destroy a monster. Your opponent can call another monster by paying its call cost. Then you can pay a gauge and return this card. So it's 2 gauge to destroy a monster. Your opponent calls a monster, and you return it, and you return the spell. It's just a little too much gauge. Plus the fact that there's 2 or more cybernetic have to be on your field, which I don't like. I feel like it's too specific to have. Or it's not difficult, but it's more challenging to keep 2 on the field to cast this.
And just like with F5, this pretty much card refreshes itself if you get the abilities off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shitty computer puns.
Puns.
Next is Control C.
Hey,
Control
look at that, another
C,
pun. Control
obviously
copy.
a 4 of. Control C, search your deck with a cybernetic monster, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Nothing more to say. It's 4 of. You gotta win this.
It's a control copy.
Next is Lvl Up. If your life is 7 or less, choose a monster from your drop zone, put in the soul of a card in your field, or return it to your hand. I think this is why I don't want log out, is because of this. Revival Erase, I chose to run this over that. Revival Erase, I run this at 4 because nice way to gain soul, because log out, if you return a monster to your hand, you have to lose all the soul that was in it. But also with this, you're going to be at 7 life or less eventually. You're not going to always stay above it. And you can gain soul, plus it's not once per turn. So you're able to act abilities off, like protocols. And you'll still be able to act Netman's abilities to discard a soul and activate different stuff.
Okay. I see your point.
Finally is physical format. I run this at 2, but I'm running it at 2 because I don't like running one-ofs. But it's very specific. You need 3 or more cybernetic on the field, pay 2 gauge, and it's a different type of impact because your opponent doesn't really lose life. It's more about losing their resources and stuff like that. They lose all cards in their field. Then if there's 3 or more cards in opponent's gauge, it goes until they have 2 gauge. So now they have no monsters and only 2 gauge. I like it just because it limits your opponent. Plus it says destroy all cards, so that counts spells, items, and all of that stuff.
Everything, it's great.
Yeah.
Just the requirement might be hard to get off since you need your item and 2 monsters.
Yeah, but
other than that, if you actually get this off, like I said with the other video, if you can get any impact off, it's great.
Yeah.
Alright, so we're going to go into now the strengths and weaknesses of this deck.
Okay, for strengths and weaknesses, I think this deck's main strength is the fact that it's really easy to gain soul, so you don't need to worry about taking 2 turns to gain a soul, and then the second turn you lose the soul to do abilities. You can just gain the soul and do the ability. Weaknesses for this deck would mainly be soul removal, because yeah, you can gain soul easily, but there's cards that can just let you lose the soul instantly as well. Then there's also item destruction, but your item has soul guard, plus there's cards that can let you get stuff like Arrival Erase, so that lets you get cards from your drop zone back into your hand. So it's not really that much of a concern to me. Mainly just soul removal because it stops you from doing different abilities.
So say a deck like Thunder Empire or any rushing deck, can this deck like stand up against it? Because for my opinion, it doesn't look like it handle that much.
I think it depends on the rushing deck, because it does have some nice nullifiers like backspace, where it lets you get a 7 night from drop zone, but also the redirector is an amazing card because it has soul guard, so it redirects 2 attacks. But what you can do with control 15 is redirect, loses a soul, goes to attack it again, control 15, return that card to your hand and call it again, and it gets another soul, redirects another attack. So it does have good defensive capabilities, but some rushing decks will be able to take this deck on quite easily, like Thunder Empire.
Alright, so the final question. Will this deck be in the meta?
I believe so. It's already in the meta in Japan. I feel like right when we get it out here in the United States, people are going to be running it. The cards shouldn't be that hard to get your hands on, and yeah, just everybody's going to have the deck, so everybody's going to be used.
All because of nostalgic reasons. That's
Yeah.
pretty much it.
But it also is good attack, like I said, really offensive. Plus its abilities are really easy to get off with all the soul gain you can get. So I feel like people are just going to have easy access to it. They're going to love using it, and they're just going to make it good.
So on the rating system, what would you give it?
I would give it an A.
You give it an A?
Yeah.
So it's pretty much just going to wrap it up for this video. If you have any questions about this deck type at all, or like want to see any other future deck discussions in the future, just comment down below. But I'm Ryan from Team Chaotic Deities.
I'm Dylan.
Later.